Hi there, this is John from RevSoft, and this presentation is an overview of the high availability integrity checker in REV Scheduler version 10.3. This applies to all platforms. We assume you've seen the HA video and understand how it works. Now, at RevSoft, we just don't subscribe to lights out processing theory, and the same applies with high availability in REV Scheduler. I want to see the proof that the jobs on the failover servers are correct, so we know we're good to go if we need to cut over. Okay, so let's open here. This is a high availability .NET user interface in REV Scheduler. We're connected to 4 servers, 3 iSeries and Windows. Now, if we look at Hyperion, which is a V5 version of OS 400, it does its shadowing or replication over to a V7, V6 and a Windows box. Yes, for all of you out there, I know it won't work on a Windows box. We're doing it for just proving the theory that everything's okay. So what we can do then, with our integrity checker, I can launch that. And I can say I want the primary system to be Lab 01, the failover system to be the V6 server. So what I'm going to do, this will now bring up a list of all the jobs. And if I click check, what it's going to do, it's going to check the jobs on both servers, the primary and one of the failover servers, down at byte level, and then show me with ticks and crosses or exclamation marks anything where there's issues, or I know that everything's good. Now this is doing it interactively between the 2 servers from my .NET user interface using ODBC connections and stored procedures on the iSeries. So it's going to run through all these guys. As you can see, it's just ticking through them as it steps through them, and we're going from V5 at the moment to the V6 server. So when this finishes, we'll do the same check on the V7 server from that. Then we'll do the Windows server, which we expect everything to be incorrect because we're trying to replicate iSeries jobs to a Windows server. As I said before, it's just for proof of concept. It's not for anything else. So this one, we're up to 88, we're nearly done. So we'll get through that. We'll see how many there are. And there is 100. Okay. Now we can even check any of those jobs. Just by double clicking on the job, it will bring it up on both servers. With the primary server on the left, the failover on the right. It tells you all the different components there are within that scheduled job. And I can even double click here and drill down to the fields, the individual fields within the tables, and then checking of the data with ticks or anything else there. We're hoping we only see ticks. So now let's run the HA checker again, the integrity checker again. This time we'll go from the V5 server and we'll go to the V7 server this time. The high availability works across the operating systems. It doesn't really care because all it's doing is executing scheduled or batch jobs. So it's running scripts. It doesn't really mind what OS version is running on any of these servers. It's basically data. So what we're doing is we're running this now on V7. As you can see, it's all looking fine as well. We're coming up with green ticks. And as I said before, it's comparing these jobs interactively on both servers from the .NET user interface. So there's 100 that are replicated or shadowed, as we called it in RevSoft land. So they're going over to the other server, and it's comparing those with what it finds from the primary server to the failover server, because we're doing one-to-many here. So whenever a job changes on the primary server, it's replicated or shadowed to the other 3 servers, 2 being iSeries, 1 being Windows. And this is just finished, and then we'll run it on the Windows server just to see what that looks like. I'm tipping it's going to look like 100 crosses, but we'll just, for the heck of it, let's just run it from V5, and we're going to compare it to a Windows server. Let me move this one out of the way over here and run the check there interactively again. As you can see, they're all coming up with crosses. And surprisingly, it looks like it's checking the Windows server faster than it was checking the V7 server, but let's not even go there. But it's checking these jobs. They're all coming crosses as we would expect, and I'll show you exactly why when it completes. There will be 2 issues. One will be in the job header, where it's looking for a platform of AS400, but let's drill into this job and have a look. And yes, it's those two. Some of the other components are fine, but if we drill into this one, what we've got here is AS400 and Windows. And then if we drill into the job execution, what you'll see is we're using environment defaults on the iSeries, and there aren't environment defaults on the Windows one. So that's why that happens. Now, this is all well and good, and I can run this interactively, but what can I do if I want to actually know it's all good all the time? So what we did was we created a job that would run on a Windows server in REV Scheduler, basically as a batch job, and it's going to run multiple times, and it's going to run scripts that will do the integrity checking in batch or background mode. So what we've got here is this job starts off at 2 AM every day, runs every 4 hours. So it's going to run 6 times a day. And as we can see, it's already been executed. These are the scripts it's running, and one of those scripts is to check HAV, which is basically exactly the same as the integrity checker we just ran interactively. What it's going to do though, if it's good, is set one of the dashboards, our health center dashboards. We've got the HA states are good or bad here on 4 different servers, 1 Windows, 3 iSeries, and I've filtered these dashboards so we only see the ones we want to see. So it's going to update and tell us if they're good or bad and how many are good or bad. And then if it's good, we're going to get an email that just tells us it's good. If it's bad, it's going to send us an email with an attachment being the jobs that are bad. So now let's check out the emails. Let me just bring them up. Here we go. This is the one that checked from iSeries to Windows, and there's a PDF that's with it, which is going to show us the 100 jobs that were not good. So these failed the integrity check. So I've got a list of them, all the bad ones. And the other 2 iSeries, comparing iSeries to iSeries, we know they're all okay. So there's one from the V5 to the V7, that's okay. And then the last one is the V5 to the V6, and we know they're all okay. So when we get into the area of high availability, I am a believer in seeing that things work, but I want to physically know that it's all right. So we've given you 2 tools here. One is the integrity checker that you can run interactively, and the other one is to do it from a job connecting to your iSeries in background mode using the ODBC and stored procedures on the iSeries, and it will generate a PDF and optionally email it to you. This is just how we've set up the scripts for this job. If you'd like to run it differently, we can assist you in how to set that up. But what we did is just a simple example that would run the integrity checker. It would then update the dashboards and send emails out. So that's how we have within our tool set an integrity checker that will give you the confidence that your high availability within REV Scheduler is okay on 1 or multiple servers. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to email us at product_info@revsoft.com. Thank you very much for your time.